Hello everyone and welcome to our channel PhysioSaurus. In today's topic, we are going to study about the ankle joint and about the structures of the ankle joint, and then we will talk about the proximal tibiofibular joint and the distal tibiofibular joint. Okay, and then in the end we will deal about the capsules and the ligament of these three joints together. Okay, so this is my second video on ankle complex. My first video was an introductory video, and in that particular video we have discussed so many things. We started with how many joints are present in the ankle complex and the functions of the ankle complex. Okay, and then in the end we were talking about the motions of the ankle complex. So that was a very important video. So those who haven't watched my previous video, please pause this video right now and go through my playlist, my biomechanics playlist, and watch my previous video. If you can't find it, I'll just add that the link of that video in my comment box. Okay, and I'll pin that comment. Okay, now let's get back to it. The first topic is your ankle joint, which is also known as talocrural joint. So ankle joint or the talocrural joint, it is made up of three bones. Okay, tibia, fibula and the talus, particularly body of the talus. Okay, so talus has two parts, head and the body. So body of the talus is articulated in your ankle joint. And if you will talk about the structure, so this one here is the structure of the ankle joint. Okay, if you will go into details of this structure, so at first we will talk about the proximal and the distal articular surface. Okay, so here if you will see proximal articular surface, it includes tibia and fibula, and the distal articular surface, it includes body of the talus. Okay, and if you will just be more particular about it, then you can also say that proximal part of the ankle complex, it includes distal tibia and distal fibula, while the distal part of the ankle complex includes proximal part of talus. It would be a right thing to call it. Now let's talk about the type of the joint. Okay, basically type of the joint. So ankle joint is a type of synovial hinge joint with one joint capsule. We will deal about this joint capsule later on. Okay, so don't worry about it. Also the degree of freedom is 1. So that means that movement which occurs in the ankle joint, it occurs in only one plane. Okay, so what are the movement? So movement which occurs in the ankle joint are the dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, and this two movement, it occurs between the talus and mortise. Now what is mortise? We'll talk about it in detail. Okay, so this one here, this diagram as you can see here, is the example of mortise joint. So what's happening in this diagram is there are two different structure which are perfectly fitted into each other. So this is a type of mortise. Okay, so as you can see here, if you will correlate this structure, this diagram with this diagram, then you will find it that the tibia, fibula and the talus, these three bones are perfectly fitted into each other. As you can see here, this here is your concavity. Okay, there is concavity again, but so in order to fit properly, there is convexity in the talus. Okay, so this is an example of mortise joint. Now let's talk a little bit detail about these two movement, because movement of the ankle joint is very important. Okay, now there are two movements which was happening in the ankle complex, and those movements were plantar flexion and your dorsiflexion. Okay, so in the dorsiflexion, what's happening is your head of the talus, it moves in the upward direction. Okay, while at the same time the body of the talus, it moves in the posterior direction. Very important point. Okay, but what's happening in the plantar flexion is there is complete opposite movement. For example, in the plantar flexion, motion of the head of talus, it moves in the downward direction, while body of the talus, it moves in the posterior direction. There is one more point that you should keep in mind that along with dorsiflexion and the plantar flexion, there are two more motions which occurs in these joints. Now you might, before you get confused about it, let me tell you that in comparison to plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, these two motions are very small. So we just take directly that there are only two motions which happens in the ankle complex, and those are dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. But that is not true. There are two different motions that occurs in this particular joint, and those movement are talar rotation, which is your talar abduction or adduction, okay, and the second one is your talar tilting or talar inversion or eversion, okay. So talar rotation or talar abduction adduction, this happens in the transverse plane around the vertical axis, okay, and talar tilting or talar inversion or eversion, that happens in the frontal plane around the antero-posterior axis. And I have already said that these two movements are very small, their range of motion is very small. So for example, medial rotation, okay, medial rotation has 7 degrees, okay, and the lateral rotation is of 10 degrees in the transverse plane, because this happens in the transverse plane, right? And if you will talk about the talar tilting, that is only up to 5 degrees or even less than that. So in comparison to it, these are very small, these motions are very small. So we just directly say that there are plantar flexion and dorsiflexion which occurs in the ankle complex, okay. Now let's talk a little bit more about the ankle joint structure. We have already talked about the proximal articular surface and the distal articular surface, okay. So the proximal articular surface, it includes concave surface of distal tibia, okay. So the distal tibia is somewhat concave in nature, okay. So as you can see here, there is concavity in the distal tibia. This one here is the concavity, here it is again there is concavity, okay. So there is concavity in the distal tibia and of tibial and the fibular malleoli, okay, while in the distal articular surface, it includes the body of the talus, and the body of talus has again 3 articular surface, which is known as large lateral facet, which is your fibular facet, smaller medial facet, which is your tibial facet, and the third one is trochlear facet or the superior facet, okay. So this is just about the talus anatomy, okay. Now again, the body of the talus, it appears wider anteriorly, okay. So anteriorly it is little bit wider than the posterior side. As you can see here in this diagram is your is of posterior part of your talus, okay. So here this one is your posterior part of your talus, and this one here is your anterior part of the talus. So as you can clearly see that if you will compare these both diagrams, the anterior part of your talus is more wider than the posterior part of your talus, okay. So, all right, now let's move on to a different image. So this image, as you can see here, this one is your medial facet, medial tibial facet, okay. This one is your head of talus, here this one is your head of talus, here is your navicular bone, this one is your cuboid bone. There is nothing more to see, just to understand that where is your medial facet and where is your lateral facet. These two are of our काम की thing, okay. ये हमारे काम की thing है, बाकी वैसा कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. And this one is your body of the talus. So basically you need to understand these 4 things only. This one is your head of talus, this one is your body of the talus, this one is your medial or tibial facet, and this one is your lateral facet, okay. Now the next point or the next topic is your proximal tibiofibular joint, okay. So it is your plain synovial joint. It is the articulation between the head of the fibula with posterolateral aspect of the tibia. Just look at this diagram very closely. This diagram is your posterior view of your tibiofibular joint, proximal tibiofibular joint. This side is your lateral side and this side is your medial side, okay. So if you will see here closely, then you can see here that in the posterolateral side, there is articulation between this is your tibia bone, all right. This is your tibia bone and this one is your fibula, Okay, so if you will see here, in the posterolateral side there is the articulation between the tibia and the fibula. Okay, so that's what I have written here. Okay, so it is the articulation between the head of the fibula, okay, with the posterolateral aspect of the tibia, which we have already seen just right now. Okay, now the tibial facet is somewhat convex in nature, okay, and the fibular facet is the concave in nature. It has anterior and posterior tibiofemoral ligaments with capsules. Okay, so this was all about your proximal tibiofibular joint, which is already clear if you will look in this video very closely. Okay, now let's get back to our distal tibiofibular joint. So it is a kind of syndesmosis or the fibrous joint. That means there is no movement in the distal tibiofibular joint, first of all. Now the articulation, if you will talk about the articulation, there is concave facet of the tibia and convex facet of the fibula. That's it. Now distal tibiofibular joint are not in contact with each other, but rather separated by the fibroadipose tissue. Okay, so there is no direct contact between the tibia and the fibula in the distal tibiofibular joint, but they are separated by the fibroadipose tissue. Fibro means fibrous, okay, and adipose tissue, which you already know. So there is basically a layer of fibroadipose tissue in between the distal tibiofibular joint. Also, there are no joint capsules present. Proximal and the distal joint, and this is a very important highlight of this distal tibiofibular joint. Before that, just see this diagram here. This one is your distal tibiofibular joint, okay, distal tibiofibular joint, and in the middle one there is fibroadipose tissue. In between, this one here is your tibia, and this thin bone is your fibula, okay, and between them is your fibroadipose tissue. Okay, so that's it. Now the proximal and the distal tibiofibular joint, they both are linked with each other. Okay, so that means tibia, fibula and tibiofibular joints are a part of closed chain. So that is why all the ligaments that lie between the tibia and fibula, they contribute to the stability to the proximal and distal tibiofibular joint. It was just a small note. The purpose of this line, the purpose of this sentence was just to keep sure in mind that any ligaments which are present between the tibia and fibula, they both will contribute to the stability to proximal tibiofibular joint and the distal tibiofibular joint, okay, to both the joints. So what are the ligaments? Ligaments such as anterior and posterior tibiofibular joints, ligaments. So ligament name are anterior and posterior tibiofibular ligaments. All right, there is a type of membrane which is present, which is also known as interosseous membrane. So interosseous membrane, it supports the tibiofibular joints, okay, same work just as the ligaments. So this was all about the distal tibiofibular joint. I hope you don't have any confusions up till now, but still if you do have it, pause this video right now. You have my WhatsApp number, you have my Instagram, your comment box is open. So any kind of doubt, you are free to ask anything from me, okay. Now the next point is that if, let's say, in a certain condition, if talus is forcefully rotated in the lateral direction within the ankle mortise, so what will happen in that case? In that case, the injury, it can cause the separation of the fibula and tibia, which will ultimately lead to syndesmotic ankle sprain. So basically what's happening here is, when the talus is forcefully rotated in the lateral direction within the ankle mortise, that will cause an injury to the distal tibia and fibula, and that injury will lead to the separation of the distal part of tibia, distal tibiofibular joint, okay. And since that joint is syndesmotic joint or fibrous joint, So there is no separation between the tibia and fibula, but when that injury happens, there is separation of the tibia and fibula, and that will lead to syndesmotic ankle sprain. And let's say that the forces are too much. Okay, so if the forces continues, then there might be fracture of fibula. That can certainly happen. Okay, now the next point is, if the amount of axial load or during weight bearing, so weight bearing forces or the axial load on fibula, it increases. Okay, so the axial load or the weight bearing forces on fibula increases when ankle is kept in the eversion position. Okay, the last point is that hyaline cartilage of the proximal tibiofibular joint is dependent on the motion of the joint to maintain the nutrition of the hyaline cartilage, okay, rather than weight bearing. So these were the three small words, sentences, whatever you can call it, so which was very important for you to know that. The next part is your ligaments and capsules in the tibiofibular and the ankle joint. So I think I'll discuss it in the next video, because this video is already 20 minutes, maybe 20-25 minutes long. So I'll just drop this video here. I'll just discuss it in the next video, in the upcoming video. Till then, please keep reading the Cynthia Norkins. Please make these notes by yourself. Keep reading the books, keep asking the questions, clear all your doubts, because this biomechanics is really an amazing subject. Okay, there are lots of things to explore about it. So I'll just stop the video here. So thank you so much for watching this video.